Greetings. Hope everyone's having a great day or have had a great day, depending on when you're actually listening or looking at this. Welcome. This is the introduction video to CSC560 operating systems. We're going to be talking about what our 7-week journey looks like. And so rather than have a little bit of chat, let's jump right on in. Okay, trying to put up front that, what's going to be happening. What is my expectations at the end of this course? What are you going to be able to do? And that is, excuse me. Okay, understand operating system concepts, analyze operating system components, implement key operating system features, compare major operating systems, and lastly, apply U.S. knowledge, U.S. operating system knowledge to real-world scenarios. Okay, so the bottom line is this is the expectation of what's I'm going to be looking for you to basically provide for me at the end of the semester. Okay, so let's jump right on. Let's start with week one. In week one, we're going to be introducing the basics of the operating systems, and then somewhat of a light evolution of where do we start and where we are right now. Okay, what is the purpose and what are the roles played by the operating system, history and evolution, types of operating systems, operating system structure and components. We're down here is what are we going to be having. We're going to go at the end to look at what the requirements are going to be each week. Okay, so I'm kind of down here, this information reading. We'll cover this basically at the end. Okay, so as far as content, we got week one, the general introduction. Week two, what we have is process management and CPU scheduling, processes and threads, process states, CPU scheduling algorithms, context switching, and threading. Now, don't get bent out of shape. It says, I have no idea what you're talking about, Mr. Stedman. Okay, no, don't do Professor Stedman. No. You will understand completely all the terminology we're talking about here after we get out of that particular week, guaranteed. Okay, so what I want you to just concentrate, just looking at the flow, what you're going to be doing, what your assignments and your quiz is going to be about, and not really at this time, looking at the detail of what each one of these processes or activities are going to mean to you. Week three, we got memory management and virtual memory, where we're looking at memory management schemes, paging and segmentation, virtual memory, page replacement algorithms. This will all fall into place. Week four, talking about device and I/O management. How do your I/O systems interface with hardware? Interface the operating system with the hardware that might be connected to your laptop, for example. Device drivers, disk scheduling algorithms, buffering and caching and pooling. Excuse me. In week five, we're going to be talking about file systems and file management. In this particular week, we're going to be talk about file concepts and operations, directory structures, file system types, file allocation methods, protection, and permissions. Okay. Week six, we'll be delving into operating system security and ethics. What are our goals in the operating system as far as what security features it should have, break threats and vulnerabilities, access control, encryption, ethical and legal considerations. And then five, here, there's a little bit of change here in that this week here is going to be dedicated totally to your final project. Okay, your final project, each week you'll have a lab as designated here. As we build onto these labs each week, week 7 is going to say, give me all the information I accumulated and put it in a video presentation that I'm going to be able to present to the class. And I'll just go ahead and interject here that I'm looking for at the end of the semester the best of these presentations, because in the computer science forum I would like to have one or more individuals basically present their particular project or their particular labs to the faculty, computer science faculty, as to what was basically done and learned in operating systems. So as again, I'll be looking at, I'm sure everybody will be the best ones, but I'll be looking for the best of the best. So don't be surprised if I ask you at the end of the semester whether you would be willing to be one of those individuals that will participate in that computer science forum. Okay. So that's what's going to happen week 7. All of that week will be concentrating on the final project development and presentation. That will be happening in week 7. Okay, so as far as the labs, I did want to kind of highlight that the labs that we're going to be doing are staggered. And when I say staggered, you'll see here that in week 1, we're basically looking at introduction to operating systems. In week 2, we have a lab for introduction to operating systems. I basically staggered that so that whenever you do your lab, you would have already covered the concepts, okay, as far as what the lab is going to be doing. So rather than give you assignment 2, quiz 2, and lab 2, you really haven't got the concepts totally down until you complete that given week. So if you see here, there's a stagger. Lab 1 is in week 2, lab 2 is in week 3, lab 3 is in week 4. So we're staggered in that we're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 labs, okay, that basically are staggered through week 6. So that gives you a chance that whenever you do a lab, you've already covered, you've already sent in the assignments, you've already sent in the quizzes, you're already sent in the Cornell notes. You have a very good idea at that particular point of what was basically learned. So you're taking that information and now you're going to take that and you're going to apply it to the lab that we'll be giving everyone from week to week. So just wanted to highlight that, okay, that how that takes place. The other thing I want to highlight is for standard, each week you're going to have an assignment, you're going to have a quiz. For those who are online, you will also have a discussion document. What's not shown here, you will have Cornell notes. This is basically standard from Carolina University. So the assignment, the quiz, the discussion, and the Cornell notes are going to basically do every week. Here at the top, you see reading chapter 1, 2. These are coming out of the text. Okay, the text is basically related in the syllabus. Am I requiring you to purchase the text? No, I'm not personally requiring you. Will the text help you basically reinforce what we're talking about with operating system? Yes. In looking at the text, the assignment and the quiz basically is coming from information, say in week 1, from chapters 1 and 2. So here, what we're basically doing is telling you what chapters in the text that's assigned to this particular class, what chapters are highlighting the particular content that we're basically going through in that given week. So that's the chapter readings. That's where that comes from. The assignments here are based on the focus on the week that we're in. So is the quiz. And again, the labs are staggered. Now you see here, this is this course. I know somebody's, this is easy. I know operating systems. This course is challenging. Okay, this course is challenging. And I'm telling you that because what I want them to make sure is that, number 1, you don't wait till the last minute. Do not wait till the last minute to do assignments, to do quizzes, because you're going to basically be overwhelmed. You're going to be overwhelmed. You're going to be rushing, and it's going to affect your grade. Okay. So what I would like to just put in the forefront is don't wait till Saturday in order to turn in an assignment, because it's probably going to reflect how bad it is based on how late you tried to do it. Okay. So keep that in mind. The other thing is these things are basically hierarchical in that they build on each other. When we start talking about information in week 2, it is also dependent on what we talked about in week 1. So each week basically builds on the concepts of each week before it. So this is just to remind you that don't get into the habit, don't fall into that pit where you say, this is Friday. I really, I'd rather go to the party, so I'm going to skip week 2, and then I'll come back and double my efforts on week 3. No, don't do that, because you'll be missing out some key concepts that we're going to cover in a given week that should be carried over to the next week, but you skipped it. Okay? And that is not good news. So please, just kind of a warning, and kind of a push for you to stay current, pass in and send in the assignments you're supposed to send in, get the concepts, and take those concepts and apply it each week. Okay. So with that, again, this things here, assignments here, as far as the lab is concerned. So if you look at what is due, the assignment, the quiz, the lab, the Cornell notes, those are the 4 basics. If you're online, you're going to add a discussion document. So the discussion document, for those who are basically taking the course online, they have one extra thing to do. Another thing that most likely will happen once I see the mix of students, if you are a graduate student, you will have some more things to do in this particular class. Okay, so if you're a graduate, just think that there's going to be either some harder assignments or some additional assignments, some research papers that you're going to have to do in addition to what's being labeled here, or what's going to be labeled in the course content. Okay, so here are key takeaway. Operating systems are the foundation of all computing. They manage hardware resources, provide essential services, and enable applications to run efficiently and securely. What's our goal? Our goal is to build a strong understanding of operating system principles and components to confidently analyze, evaluate, and apply operating system concepts in a real-world computing environment. That is where we're going to be going. Here's what we're going to be covering over the 7-week period. I'm looking forward to seeing everyone in class on week 1. And if there are any questions, there is one thing I forgot. As far as if you ever have an issue, okay, I am the kind of individual that I will basically try to align my schedule to meet your availability. And what does that mean? Okay, that means that your office hours are flexible. When you say, Professor Stedman, I need for you to talk about this, or I need to learn something, I don't understand this. Okay, we will schedule a time for you to get that information, to get that information from me based on when you're available. If that's 8 o'clock at night, then we'll schedule 8 o'clock at night. If it's 8 o'clock in the morning on Saturday morning, and I'm available, again, all this is based on I'm being available, but I will go ahead and change my schedule to align with yours. Okay, so I'm going to try to make it as easy as possible, that if you run into some hurdle, some problem, that we can schedule a time that we can meet. We'll slap it on Zoom, taking that information and basically rehashing it. As far as, you'll have my telephone number. You can text me, you can call me, you'll have my email address, you can email me. So, after class, if you say that, I need some extra help, we can schedule it then. So just kind of say, don't, if you run into problems, talk to me. Okay. Don't get farther down the line and says, well, Professor Stedman, I really didn't understand the concept that came out of week 2, and here we are in week 5. Okay. So just kind of present that my office hours are your office hours. That's why they're there. Okay. Okay. So that's it. We're going to kind of wrap things up for the intro into CSC560 operating systems. Look for, week 1 coming up very shortly. And if any questions, be sure to contact me. Everybody have a good one. Bye.